Stoves in Canada suck. Well, guys, welcome back to Mad English TV, where I teach you English, but also things about Canada. Okay, so one thing I want to tell you about Canada is that stoves in Canada suck. The word suck means it's not good. They're useless. These stoves are completely useless, okay? So this is called a stove. This area of a stove is called the stove top, okay? The stove top, and this is the oven, right? Now, this whole unit can also be called a range, okay? So maybe you didn't know that word, the word range. If you didn't know it, smash that like button right down there. Thank you guys so much. So this is a range, okay? So if you're, if you buy a new house and it doesn't come with appliances like this, I had to buy these appliances. Now, this is an electric stove, right? This is most ranges in Canada are electric. Okay, it's really rare to find a gas stove or a gas oven. Like you can in some houses, like in a condo building like this, there's no gas. I've never seen a condo building in Canada that has gas. Everything is electric, right? The heating system is electric. The stove is electric. The oven is electric. Everything's electric, right? And I hate electric stoves. I'll show you in a little bit, okay? This is completely useless. I hate cooking on here. So if you're coming from a country like India, where it's always gas, I mean, they only cook with gas, all your gas stoves in India. So maybe if you're coming to Canada and you are looking around for a gas stove, it's very possible in your building. Like most houses in Calgary have, like, I think if it's a bungalow kind of thing, you could get gas hookup. You could put in a gas stove. But in a condo building or in most townhomes, I think they don't have gas coming into the house. Now they might have a gas line to your balcony, to the deck, right? So you can have a gas barbecue. That is more common. But to have gas like inside your kitchen, it's rare. That's just something you're gonna have to get used to cook on something like this. Now let me warn you, cooking on an electric stove is a terrible experience, okay? So I'm gonna finish my breakfast. Cheers. Alright guys, I started making the video before I finished my breakfast. So eggs on toast. Alright, so now begins the lesson. Look at all this stuff, look at all this English here. Now if you see a word that's not English, it's French. Because everything in Canada here is English and French, okay? So if you see this word here, melt, fonder. If you're thinking, what is fonder? What does that mean? Don't worry, your English is fine. That's not English, it's French. Okay, look at all this. Bake, curry, broiler, griller, or broil griller, warm, chod. All these, like, second words here are, look at that, start, depart. I guess it kind of means the same thing in English. Depart is kind of also an English word, right? So if you're looking at this and you're saying, what is going on here? Hot chod, right? This is English, this is French. Cook and warm. This is English, this is French. Okay, so you get the idea. All right, so these things are called elements or burners. Okay, so this is an element, or you can call it a burner. It has two names. Okay, now this stove top, this range here, the stove top is it has 4 elements or 4 burners. Okay, now you can kind of see here, there's a little map of which burner this activates, right? But you can see here on this map, there are actually 5 spots. So what, okay, so let's just look at this, okay? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. But look at, so here we go. This one is for the lower right, right? So that one would be for this. This one is for this. And you get the idea, right? It's just kind of like following a map, right? But what is this one here? This one is in the middle. Well, look, there's nothing in the middle top. It's just whatever, that stuff, right? But it's showing that. So look at it, says warming zone. Warming zone. What does that mean? Well, guys, let's test it out, okay? What it means, let's put it onto max, okay? Now, what that means is that, you know, if you finished cooking something and you just want to kind of keep it warm, well, you could leave it on the stove and put the thing to minimum, right? Like if we want to, like, let's say we're using this one here, right? So we would use this one. We could put it all the way down to like, to minimum here, but maybe that's even still gonna be too hot, right? So, oh yeah, it's getting warm, right? So I can feel it. You can't see anything, but I can feel that this is warm. Now let's see if it gets too warm to put my hand on. Right now it's fine. Now the reason I hate these kind of stoves is that, I'll show you here. Inside the burner, like under, I mean, this is just like a glass top or whatever material this is, right? It's easy to clean. Hey, that's one good thing I love about these. It's easy to clean. You can just wipe it, super easy, right? But the thing is that underneath these elements, there is a coil, okay? And the coil gets hot, and that's what, you know, that's what heats up the pot or the pan or whatever you're cooking. Guys, it's still just warm, right? It's not hot. You can see I can put my hand on there fine. So I'm gonna, let's turn on one of these elements and see what happens. I'll show you. Now look at this one. Why is this one like got 2 rings? This one's just one, 2. What does that mean? Okay, so good question. I don't know if you asked that question, but if you did, that was a good question. Okay, so look at this here. See this one here? It controls this burner, okay? Now look at what it says here, max and max. See, this one is a single dot and this one has 2 rings. Well, this, if you turn it like this to this side, it's going to heat up the outer ring as well. If you turn it to this side, it's only going to heat up the pot that size. Okay, so let's say we're going to cook something in this pot, right? Look at that. I put it nice in the center. Do we need the extra space? Do we need that extra ring? No, we don't, because it's like, you know, that is enough. Right there, right? But if, let's say you're cooking a huge, let's say you have a huge pan, whatever reason, okay, you're just cooking a lot of food, right? Then you would turn it to that side, and then you got max all the way down to minimum. Here you got max all the way down to minimum, okay? So it's your choice whether you want to use this or whether you want to use the ring. Now, guys, now it's hot. Now, let me just see. Can you see that red burner, right? You can see the red coil in there. So I can't touch it now because that would burn my hand. Okay, so that's hot. But the thing is, it's like, it's hot, but it's not like, it doesn't kind of cook things really evenly. You know, with gas, the flames kind of come up the side of the pot and it heats things much quicker. This, it takes forever to cook on an electric stove. You know, like Indians make tea all the time, right? They call it chai, right? Multiple times a day. if you're cooking chai, if you're trying to make chai on something like this, it's a terrible experience. It's really, really a bad experience. Like, you know, I don't know how people go from a gas stove to an electric stove. It's a bad experience. Okay. So just get ready for that. If you're coming to Canada and you're used to using a gas stove, just know that most stoves here in Canada are electric, right? So I mean that's max, right? You can see it's on max, and it's you can see the hot coil there, right? So it's hot, but it's like it's not as hot as like fire, and it doesn't cook things as quickly and as evenly as fire. So if you're trying to make a stir fry on here, it's brutal. Or if you're trying to make like chai or anything that you want some heat, it's terrible. It's a terrible experience. Okay, so stoves in Canada suck. All right, so let's turn this off. We don't need that anymore. But now you know what that outer ring and the inner ring are for. Let me know in your country. Could you let me know which country you're from, and if you have electric stoves or gas stoves in your country? I'd be interested to know. So if you could leave a comment down there and tell me your country and whether people use gas or electric, that'd be great. Okay, so look at this. I was gonna say, okay, so we've talked about the oven, right? The oven is electric, right? So I'll show you here. So the see these coils here, right? I mean, this is just basically the same idea as what we saw up here with the, you know, the stovetop. These things get hot and they bake whatever you're baking, a cake or a pie or whatever. Now, these are called racks, okay? This is the top rack, the middle rack, and the bottom or the lower rack. So if very often if you're making a recipe, it'll say, you know, cook or let's say you're cooking a frozen pizza. It might say, put the pizza on the middle rack. Okay, so that's what that means. Now, see back here, there's a fan. You can see it's not on. But what is that fan for? The fan is to blow the heat around so that it cooks a little bit more evenly, right? Because the heat is only coming from here. There might also be a coil underneath that bottom part there. So I'm not sure, but the heat is only coming from up here for sure, and maybe down there. But if you want to blow the heat around a little bit, you need the fan, right? So that helps cook things a little bit more evenly, right? So how do we turn on the fan? Well, that's what this is here, convection. That's what that means, okay? Convection means air, like heat by air. Convection means it's going to blow the air, the hot air around, and it's going to bake your cake more evenly. Let me know what you would bake. Would you bake a cake or a pie or some cookies? Let me know what you would bake for me down in the comments. I'd love to know that. Okay guys, so this is the stove, the oven, or it can also be called the range, right? We've talked about the burners, burners and elements, and this warming zone. Oh guys, now that's pretty hot. Now I can feel that's pretty hot. Now I don't know if that's hot because, I was gonna say I don't know if it's hot because this was on, but I think it's no, it's too hot to touch now. So you can't see anything under there, but there must be some coil under there, something under there to keep things warm. So it does get really pretty hot. Now guys, another thing I was going to mention, the reason I hate cooking with these things is, let me just see here. Okay, let's try with this guy here, this top corner one. Okay, top corner, let's put it on minimum. Let's put it like there, let's see what happens. Okay, it's going to get warm. I can still touch it, it's fine. But so I'll just tell you what I hate about these things is that when it's on minimum, or when it's on like some one of these settings here, then it's the coil just kind of switches on, and then it switches off, and then it switches on and switches off. That's how it gives you a lower temperature. It doesn't, it's not like the coil can like, how do I say it? At least that's been my experience with these electric stovetops. It's not like a gas stove where if you want low flame, right, you just turn it and the flame gets lower. Whereas with this, it's like the coils only have one setting, either on or off. So if it's on the maximum setting, then the coil just stays on the whole time. But if it's on the like a minimum setting, then the coil will come on and then it will go off. And then it'll come on and then it'll go off for a while. And then it'll come. It's like, it's just dumb. I don't know who invented these electric stoves. They're, you know, just, and I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, so like, yeah, you can hear when they switch on and off. That's the thing. That's why you know that what I'm saying is true. So if you put it on like minimum, you'll be able to hear the, you know, you'll be able to hear the, it switch on, and then it kind of like switches off. And then it switches on again after a while. So it's almost like it's on a timer, right? So like, I mean, like obviously here it's max, it's going to be bright red the whole time. But if we turn it there, I don't know if you can hear that. I can hear it's a little noise coming from there. But anyway, guys, you get the point. So it doesn't heat things evenly. It's not consistent. I hate these. I hate stoves in Canada. So I just wanted to make a video about that because you know, it's very possible that you're coming from a country that just uses gas stoves, right? Just turn that off there. We're done our lesson here. So yeah, if you're coming from a country that uses gas, it you know, it's frustrating. It's not a great experience. But on the plus side, many countries in the world don't have ovens. So if you want to bake a cake or something like that, I mean, you got a stove and an oven in one unit, which is called a range, right? So, you know, it could be fun for you to bake. You might be excited to have an oven because in a lot of countries, if you want to have an oven, you have to buy it as a separate unit. And to get a big oven and big enough to bake like a bunch of cookies or cakes or something like that, it could probably be pretty expensive, right? So most houses, I mean, they either come with a range or you buy a range. They're not that expensive. They might be, I don't know. I can't remember how much I paid for this, to be honest. I think you could probably get the maybe the cheaper ranges would be like under $1,000, and then the more expensive ranges would be maybe like, I don't know, maybe $2,000. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But anyway, guys, there it is. There's your education on Canadian cooking, Canadian stoves, and the frustration that goes along with it. So just be warned, if you're coming to Canada, you might have to use an electric stove and oven, and it might be kind of frustrating for you. So guys, with that, I'll bid you farewell. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you guys for all your support and for always smashing like and leaving comments and everything. I really appreciate it. So guys, hey, do you want a bite of my breakfast? I'll give you guys a bite of my eggs on toast. All right, so guys, stay safe, have a great day, and as always, I love you so much. See you over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Cheers.